Welcome to another episode of Your Good Bro. And this week, and we say it all the time, we say, look, we're not just about the guys, we're about the women as well, we're about everyone. So this week, special guest, Rachel Aitken, introduce yourself.
Well, it's really hard to introduce yourself, I always think, Jamal, but I'm Rachel Aitken. I am a broadcaster, I'm a marketeer, I'm also a mum. I've just had my second baby and I am really thrilled to be here, so thank you so much for having me.
No, but it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? It's been a long time coming. So today we're going to talk about juggling motherhood and being a creative, essentially, in the creative industry. We talk about that a lot, myself and JD obviously both being creatives. We talk about that, a fair bit. So we thought, why not kind of bring an extra dimension into it? And I thought, who better than Rachel? So as we always say, JD not with us this week, but as we always say, we ask each other first, are you good, bro? Are you good, sis? We'll say for this one.
I am good, bro. I will say, so I'm 4 months into having my second, and I will say it's been an interesting second journey. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is postpartum for me the first time around was really, really hard. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realise that because it was my first time jumping into it. Second time, it is still hard. You're fully in the trenches. My kids don't sleep.
Oh, really?
They do not sleep. So if anyone's got any tips on how you can help kids sleep, I've got a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old, please. Yeah. But I think the second time around, I've got help with the postpartum journey, and I just feel myself again, Jamal. Yeah. And that is an amazing thing, because it is really hard. And I want to advocate talking about the hardship of it, because I do think people like you and I, we're kind of sunny people.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to show that the sunny people also have dark days.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into that. So first of all, in a nutshell, what is it like now? Obviously, you've just had a second. What is it like trying to juggle motherhood with actually keeping up a creative career? Because we were chatting before in the lift, and being a creative or working in the creative industry is totally different to many other jobs, in the way of, it's a lot more social for a start. I feel like you have to put in a lot more hours, kind of almost setting up stuff, or it's not a case of turning up to a building at 9 o'clock and leaving at 5. It's you might spend a Sunday evening having a chat with someone that you're going to interview, or having a chat with a client about what brief they're giving you for a presenting job. So it's not that normal. So after that long ramble, I'll ask you in a nutshell first, and then we'll dive in. What are the kind of struggles, the main struggles in juggling motherhood with being a creative?
Well, I think actually it is harder having the second one. I mean, who knew having more would be harder? So by day, when I'm not on mat leave, I work for a large marketing company. And then by night, by weekend, I pursue my passion, which is podcasting. It's, writing for newspapers. It's TV and radio and all that kind of thing. So with that means when the kids go to bed, they do go to bed and then they're up. I kind of just know the times they're going to wake up as well. So I kind of work to the first wake. Usually my son gets up at midnight at the moment. So if I'm working towards a podcast or I'm putting myself out there for opportunities whilst being on mat leave, I'm really trying to utilise that and also feeling well in myself mentally. I do kind of use the evenings a lot, or I would love to say I would wake up early. I used to wake up early when I just had the one, but now I need to sleep in the mornings. When they're sleeping, I need to sleep. But I'm naturally a night owl, Jamal. I feel like most creatives I meet are a night owl. Are you a night owl?
Yes, I am. They always say that's when you're creative, mind really gets to work at night.
Honestly, I faff around all day, and then 8 p.m, 9 p.m. till 2 a.m, it's the best. I kind of utilise my time like that, really. And I'm very lucky. I have a very supportive partner. So to be honest, he's a gamer, so I think he quite enjoys the fact that he can go and game whilst I'm working. And he's
I love that.
It's a real hardship, but I don't think it is.
I love that. So how did your creative journey start? Because, as the accent might have given it away. You're not Manc. A lot of our guests are either Manc or, from Manc, but you're not Manc. Tell us about your journey kind of, from the beginning, or when you decided you wanted to be a broadcaster. What sparked it off for you?
Well, it was Motherhood.
Okay.
It was when I was working in Manchester. So yeah, my accent, just to clarify, I'm Scottish. I just got asked by someone else, are you Canadian? I do get a little blend sometimes, but as soon as I maybe talk to a Scottish person, you really do hear
they
it.
get it.
Especially my granny, you really hear it. But I was living and working in Manchester for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it. I was working for a PR firm. And that PR firm, I was going to like Media City a lot. I was going to London a lot. To all the big broadcasting, and I just loved it. I got a buzz every time I went in the studio. But honestly, Jamal, I just thought I was for somebody who was behind the camera rather than front of it. And I think that stems from lack of confidence in how I look. And that actually comes down from a tiny little bit of just, I wouldn't say bullying, it wasn't bullying, but just like jibbing from girls when I went to school. So I had one friend who's not a friend anymore, say to me like, oh, all your features are really ugly, but somehow they work. So that,
what does that even mean?
That sticks with you. I'm telling you it now. I'm in my 30s. Yeah. It sticks with you because you then think, oh, actually, and I make jokes being like, face for radio rage. And it's just that it comes back to the being at school. Anyway, we fast forward. I just didn't think it was for somebody like me. And I'm such a cheerleader for everyone else, but not myself. Anyways, I become pregnant with my daughter, and I just had this sudden, I say fire in my womb because she was obviously in my womb. I was like, I am not proud of myself and I got to change this. So to give context, we were living in a time of, we'd just come out of lockdown. So we're watching the news a lot, weren't we? I was watching the Red Sofa a lot. And yeah, I just had this sudden urge to be like, I would just love to pursue something in broadcasting. I really want to do it. And I whatever you believe in this life, I believe we had one shot and you got to make it work.
Absolutely.
You've got to just do whatever makes you feel passionate. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be putting yourself out there in social media like we sort of have to in this industry, which is quite jarring when you don't really want to put all your life out there. But anyway, so yeah, I literally, I think it was a month pregnant with my daughter. I didn't know I was having a daughter, but I just had this instinct I was having it. I know it might be a bit woo-woo to some people, but I knew I was having a daughter. I knew I was having a son before they told me. I just had a very big feeling. And the drive of having a daughter particularly, I thought, well, I'm her first role model and I really want to pave the way because I don't want her to say to me like, Mum, you're so hypocritical. You know, you're telling me to do whatever I want, which I'll absolutely tell both of them, and I'm not doing it. So I just had this almighty moment of bravery. And going back to the PR firm I worked at, I moved up from London to Manchester and I had this day turnover with this lady who I was taking her job while she moved on. So we didn't know each other, but we connected on socials. And I just really randomly saw that she hosted a radio show with BBC Manchester on a Friday, but she had all the same credentials as me. So I just messaged her, took a punt. I thought she's never going to reply. And like a good friendly Mancunian, she did. I honestly went to make a cup of tea and I had a message right back. And we had an hour's call the following week. The week after, I was contributing on BBC. And honestly, that's how quick it went. And that's why I would urge anybody, you know, just write the email, write the text, because like you and I connected literally on Instagram. And like, what's the worst that can happen? You get ghosted or they say no.
Well, so, do you know what? It's happened the other day. So I was coming out of work, it was in my day job, and there was a woman in the front, right? And she might be watching this actually, so I hope she is, because I was actually really impressed with this. So I came out and we've got a toilet in the lobby. There's the reason that this sounds like it's going somewhere else. It's not. There's a toilet in the lobby, so I went to use that. And when I came out, she was sat at the front, kind of like in the lobby, and anyway, I was coming out and she said, "Excuse me." So I thought, someone said to me, and heard it again. And I went, "Oh, she's talking to me." Went over and I see like a pile of CVs on the side. Anyway, she just gets chatting and saying like, basically she's a presenter, she, you know, wants some work kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, sweet. And then obviously I noticed your CVs. So I was like, oh, you know, I can pass on your CV to the guys upstairs kind of thing. Anyway, she did start to get a bit emotional about kind of really wanting a job. And I felt it. I really felt it, because I get it. And like we all, like people working in this industry, especially when you're freelance as well. I'm lucky enough to be in a staff job, but I was freelance for years and I get it. Like it's hard. And anyway, so she broke down a bit, not broke down, but she got upset and, you know, and I said, no, look, give me the CVs. I'll make sure. And I said, now I've actually seen you and we've met, like, you know, I think there's something about kind of putting a face to it and kind of having met the person. I can then say to someone, well, actually, I've met her. It's not just a piece of paper or an email that's landed on your desk. It's, no, I've met her and I can tell what her demeanour is. She's really passionate and you can just tell. And she's apologising for getting upset. I said, no, that shows how much it means to you, like massively. So I thought that was really good. So she was literally just hanging out in the lobby, just stopping people and basically asking them what they do and kind of like, can they kind of help again? And I thought, do you know what? That's initiative to me. And obviously, look, if people were doing that every day and crowding a lobby, I don't think we'd get anywhere. But look, she took the initiative to come and do that. It's like you say, it's just that first step.
Yeah.
And what I said to her as well is the Instagram thing. I said, well, if you're on Instagram, put all your stuff on Instagram, any kind of present you're doing, just put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's effectively your show reel. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you can just say to someone, well, check out my Instagram, have a look on there and everything's on there. Or a website. I say to people, you need to have a website, YouTube, something to have your work on. It's a lot easier now. You don't have to kind of meet people in a lift and get out a USB stick and give them that. It's just like, no, you just say, well, that's my website or that's my YouTube anyway. So yeah, what you're saying there, I definitely would echo that. Like, just send that message. Like you say, what's the worst that can happen? You get ghosted. Oh, well, whatever, next one. Do you know what I mean? As long as you're not hounding someone, you know, people are busy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's nice I always find it nice when I get messages from like students or people, you know, I had one from a City fan the other day. Which obviously made me even want to help them even more. I help United fans too sometimes, don't worry. I won't mention the umbrella you
I know, I brought a United brolly and I thought, oh no, I realise who I'm seeing today.
I'm looking at it now. Should have kept that to yourself.
I got it as a gift, Jamal, I'm so sorry.
No, well, you can take it back. Oh, as in you received it as a gift?
Yeah.
I thought you said you're going to give it me as a gift. I was like, no.
I should have done, put it in a little bow.
I'd have thrown it out the window. But yeah, no, it's good what you're saying there. I think, like, you know, in terms of that and just reaching out and like say, what's the worst that can happen? So you did that, obviously, and then now you're in BBC, not now, but at the time.
Yeah.
BBC Radio Manchester. And then what happened from there?
Well, yeah, I just started contributing a lot. I went from like one show every month to one show a week. And then, and I was doing that through also working my 9 to 5. But for the context, I was doing the 9 to 5 sometimes from home. Then I could like rush to Media City. And I just worked around that, to be honest with you. I was very, very fortunate too. Please don't cancel me, any person, because I had a horrible pregnancy, but I had a good pregnancy, so I still had the energy to like crack on. And yeah, I loved it. And then once my little one arrived, I then started doing, again, going back to the night owl mentality, when I knew that she would become awake at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I would do the Becky Want late show.
Oh,
and so I was on at like midnight till 2.
I wouldn't mind doing that kind of
Well, it was quite good because I could do it remotely as well. And this is like the great day and age we live in, that I didn't have to go into the studio because it was late. So just kind of worked around the baby. I would sometimes bring her with me. I'm a big advocate of that, you know, like I brought my son to meet you for breakfast. I just think, bring them along. I think it shapes them. I honestly do.
And become more social anyway. I mean, they'll probably thank you in later life when they are very social.
Yeah, I think, you know, even again, if you're having those... It's iconic. You can tell your kids or tell your friends, like whatever. So yeah, I basically started contributing a lot, and then kind of fast forward the year of contributing a lot. I started my own podcast,
which is
from my sofa, which is called The Crossroad, and it's basically like we were just saying. It's about being at a crossroad in whatever elements. I've had people on who've gone through or terrible divorce. I've had people who've had like loss. You know, every single one of us goes through crossroads, and it's how we deal with it and the positivity people bring in hard times and good times to basically send that email, make that call, or start all over again. So I started that from my sofa.
Can I just say, you've had some big guests on that.
I've had some fun guests.
You have some big names on that. where I've looked and I've been like pretty jealous you've managed to get these guests. So I might have to have a chat about...
the guests are great. There are a plethora of people you would know, household names, to just everyday people like us, because I think having that full spectrum 100%. is very important. So yeah, I started that from the sofa. I now have a studio, and it really humbles me to think I started this from my little sofa with my daughter next to me in her bassinet, and now we're going into the studio. It's really cool. That's been like a 3-year process. I will say that hasn't just happened overnight. But yeah, I started the podcast, and then now I have my own radio show at Cheshire's Mix 56, and I absolutely love it, Jamal.
I've been in there. I did a piece on the kids program. Live at 5?
Yeah, they do Live at 5 on a Sunday. It's the cutest program.
It's brilliant. Check it out. It's really nice.
So that was my kind of first step into presenting. And now I then interview someone who works at Wrexham FC. And after the interview, he asked me if I'd like to come along to Match the Day. And all of a sudden, there I was. And Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhaney, the owners of the club, they're there. And I have to say, Jamal, I'm not usually starstruck, but I was. I really embarrassingly was. I was like, this is so cool. And they were the coolest guys. Like, they were just so cool.
Honestly, people at ITV Cymru Wales, you know, I'm jealous of them because they get to cover that. It's just over the border for us, so it's not quite in our region. I'm like, oh, it would have been nice for us, but no.
You know what? I didn't realise I was actually such a football hooligan. I love it. I've grown up
Scottish.
I know well, but I've grown up. This is, you know, in Edinburgh, where we are quite into rugby in Edinburgh.
Okay.
So I've grown up around like Six Nations League.
Okay.
But my dad's really into football, but it wasn't something that we went to. Scottish rugby is a bit different to English rugby. Football is different. I absolutely loved it. Loved it. And again, I hate to mention Man United, but I went to a game when I first moved here. I went to a game. It was Man United versus Southampton, and honestly, Jamal, I had.
When did you move it again? What year did you move it again?
I actually couldn't be telling you the.
I'm trying to judge if I can forgive you for it, because if it was back
a while
when
ago.
United were in their glory days, I could forgive you for that. But if it was in more recent times, then there's no excuse.
No, it was like an amazing day. It was probably about 8 years ago. It was probably 8 years ago, and I went with one of my friends who's an absolute like diehard fan, and I just loved it. And so when I go to Wrexham, I have such a good time. Yeah. I love it. And with the boys having the pie and chips at halftime. And again, it was cool because I was pregnant with my son. And I thought, doesn't matter where this goes because I'm enjoying it so much. Yeah. I'm stood there on the sideline because there's no media room. Yeah. They're building one. So you're out in all weathers. I'm there. I'm 8 months pregnant. And the boys are like, are you sure you should be here 8 months pregnant? But I was not having it. I was doing it. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. You know, I will tell you now, no experience. I told the boys this. I have no experience in sports media, but it didn't really matter if you have an interest in people. I just loved it, honestly.
Well, this is the thing. I think like in our job, I think I say certainly in like in the journalism world, like you have to become an expert in something like instantly. Like if you get given a job at, I don't know, 9 a.m. and you got to get there for 11, and that includes driving time, so obviously I can't be researching when I'm driving. You have to become like a semi-expert in that, like almost instantly. So if I'm going to do something on water irrigation, which I know nothing about, I have to quickly kind of like really swat up on it before I get there. So I think in our industry, I think it does help definitely to have a bit of a knowledge of all manners of different things, because if a job comes up in that kind of sector, you don't really want to be turning it down, do you? Because you don't want to be saying, I don't know anything about that. Yeah. You kind of have to be like, right, I do, fake it till you make it, and just quickly don't do a load of research and become a massive Wrexham fan in like 2 days.
Well, I got this scarf now, guys. I'm absolutely loving it.
There you go.
It's funny because my dad, he played semi-pro when he was much younger for Forth Wanderers, which is a Scottish team.
I've heard of. Well, I've certainly heard of 4. But
way back in the day, right? And I called my dad. I was really pumped. I was like, Dad, I'm getting to go to Wrexham next week. Like, what is happening? And all like much like everything, it all happened very quickly. And again, it was like you say, you had to jump on the opportunity. And my dad was like, Rachel, I remember the phone call really quick, like really, really clearly. He was like, Rachel, you should know anything about football. And I was like, I know, Dad. I don't need the negativity. Please, can you coach me in the next 2 weeks?
Researchers for you. It's fine. Just get the researchers on it.
My dad literally coached me every single day before
I bet he loved it as well.
He loved it. It really bonded us. Actually, we were like we get on really well, but and like, I would call him on my drive home. It's about an hour and a half from where I live to Wrexham and home, and I'd be so excited to tell him who, like, and I think it's cool, isn't it, that you have. I'm really lucky I can do that.
It's really high profile, especially now with the owners and stuff. It's massive, and there's a lot of eyeballs, beyond you. So that's really cool. I'm very jealous. I'm not even a Wrexham fan, and I'm jealous.
It's just you don't even need to be, but I think you become actually so ingrained in it, because what I love is like people are just local people. They've got the tattoos of Wrexham. Like it's ingrained in their life.
Did you go to what's that pub called that everyone goes to?
Oh yeah,
around the corner.
I've seen it. I haven't gone in it, but it was packed. It was absolutely packed.
It's every game day, I guess.
I mean, I think there's like 10,000 seats, and they are now fully all just booked the whole time.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Fans from like all over the world coming because of obviously the Disney documentary.
I've only been once, and that was to do like EFL normally do like a launch, so you've probably been to one of them, and it's like they get like a handful of teams and like reps, so like players and managers, and they move it around. And one year they had it at Wrexham, so I was pretty excited just to go and see the stadium. And it was right around the time that Welcome to Wrexham had come out, so there's a big buzz about it. And I remember rocking up thinking, oh yeah, I've seen all this in the documentary. It's really cool.
I know. I had to try and be cool. I'm not a cool person, as you can probably tell. But like I was seeing characters from the documentary, real big cheeses, and I'd be like, I don't want to say like I've seen you on TV, you know. What
I get like that. If I'm doing stuff like as part of my role as fan rep, I'm down there quite a lot, and I do stuff with like the media team, things like that. Anyway, sometimes we're walking around and you'll just see like the first team training, and I'm just like, because the studio's literally right next to where the first team train, like the outdoor pitches and stuff. And it's just like, there's Erling Haaland. He's just there. That's Erling Haaland. Like, what? And your mind is just absolutely blown.
It's amazing.
So even now, I go there quite a lot, and even now I'm just like, like mouth wide open, just gawping at these players. And that, to be fair, I always say to people, like, when I do this job, I'm not, and I think football like is the only sort of area that I definitely get starstruck at. I've met Aguero twice, and I just melted. Absolutely melted. And also, what was the other thing I was going to say? This happens a lot. I swear, I just kind of go off on a tangent. But yeah, that was it. I went on a job, and it was, no one else knew this person was in the room. I'm a massive Forrest Gump fan. It's like my favourite film. And it was the guy who did all the music, Alan Silvestri, did all the music for it. And he was doing a musical in Manchester, or helping with a musical in Manchester. And he went down, and he was on the assign that we're going to interview him. The reporter that went with me didn't have no idea. He was just like, are you joking? But I walked in, and I was the only person who went over to him, and I was like, oh my God, like, what the hell? Like, can I have a picture with you? And everyone's looking like, I was want a picture with him. I was like, do you not know who this man is? But because I get really sort of hyper obsessed with something. So I've read everything there is to read about Forrest Gump, the production of the film. I've watched all the behind the scenes stuff and all the rest of it, special collector's edition DVD and all the rest of it. So I knew who this guy was, and I was the only person in the whole room I think he sort of liked it. He was like, oh, you actually know who I am? I was like, yeah, you literally like wrote all the music for Forrest Gump. Of course I know. I know like the whole Forrest Gump suite, it's called, like the whole score. But yes, I actually got more starstruck and nervous about that than meeting like Kylie Minogue, which was Kylie Minogue. But yeah, I was just
great name drop.
I had to just pick up that name and drop there. It's something about kind of that line of being cool, but also it's like you have to enjoy your job at the end of the day. So you have to enjoy the opportunities. We get a lot of opportunities to meet famous people. Yeah, so it's about enjoying it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I massively digress. I'm so sorry. So then you do stuff like Wrexham. And again, and you did it while you're pregnant as well, which is...
second time pregnant, hilarious. Yeah. That was quite funny. Actually, like, you know, it's a very male-orientated, situation you're in, and that's absolutely fine, and it's a wonderful team. And bless them, they were all really worried about my pregnancy. I was like, I'm fine, guys. But I think I didn't realise maybe how big I was. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so, so much. And I hope I get to go back again for this season, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's... Yeah, she's good.
Put it out
she's
there.
Good. So moving forward then, what are you up to nowadays? And obviously you've got the podcast going on still. What else are you up to in terms of like the creative industry?
Well, like I say, I had my wee one in April this year. And I have to say this time around, so with my daughter, I didn't want to like miss out on any opportunities. So I did go back a little bit punchy to radio. So I went back at 7 weeks. And I look back and bless, I'm like so puffy. Like I'm like, what's going on? I was so tired, and I just think for me personally, my experience was the first one, you're kind of like survival mode, because you've never done this before. You're cracked wide open with these kids. And, my husband and I don't have a support network around us now. That's not for the violence, okay? I think a lot of people don't have have this village anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, the buck stops with us, and that is positive and negative. Sometimes it's quite hard. But I think I just went straight into it with my little one the first time. And, you know, like I said, just kind of what I was like, wow, I've actually just worked out what I want to do. And that's such a privilege in itself, because a lot of people don't know what their passion is.
Yeah.
But this time I thought I would take it a little bit easier. And I say that I'm doing a podcast with you in 4 months postpartum. I did one last week with someone else, because I'm a better mum, Jamal. After I said this to you, like off camera, you know, I will be like, I'm actually taking my daughter to her friend's birthday party after this. I feel like, you know, I am still around a lot, and this is a little piece for me. So I'm dipping a toe right back. I'm kind of getting the confidence back again. You do get your confidence knocked a lot in this industry, and I'm putting myself out there a lot for, you know, lots of cool you know, opportunities, and you are going to get a lot of no's, and you just have to keep chipping away. But sometimes you are like, oh, when can there just be one yes? So I've tried to like slow down the pace a little bit with my son. I pick and choose the opportunities at the moment. So like today, it was an absolute no-brainer, of course. I wanted to come on.
For that.
You know, I really enjoyed doing like guest speaking. So I hosted a ladies' lunch for an amazing charity called Muscular Dystrophy UK. And yeah, I did that. I think I was like maybe 8 weeks postpartum, but I was ready for it. I was absolutely fine. But then I took time again to just kind of like enjoy my little one and that kind of thing. So I think I'm starting to get my confidence back. Even driving here today, I was starting to think of podcast guests. I was thinking about like, who could I ask? So I think I'm going to get the podcast back for season 5.
Yeah.
But that in itself takes a lot of graft, because even though I've got a lovely production team, you know, I need to get the guests on, I need to get the sponsorships in, all of that kind of thing. Otherwise it comes out of your own pocket. And when you're on mat leave, that's a bit punchy. So I'm going to get the Crossroad kind of back for season 5. I am going to start seeking some cool presenting opportunities, and we shall see. I'm kind of just like a rat-a-tat-tatting on all these doors. Cool. Maybe sometimes people are like, can you please leave me alone? But I'm like, until they say no, I'm just going to keep going.
Well, you have to. You have to. So I used to say to people, like, even if, one of my tricks was, say I'd sent someone a CV like years ago, I'd update one thing on my CV, whether it's another job or it's a minor detail, even if it was just one word, and that would give me an excuse to message them again and say, just I'm sending you an updated CV. And that was kind of my way of kind of keep knocking, but not looking like, or not irritating the person. Because actually there's a reason, is that, I've updated my CV, so that last one you've got, you probably haven't looked at. Get rid of that. This is my new one. And every like few months, I'd just slide another one under the door and say, I've just changed this. I've just changed a bit on that. Oh, my new updated CV. And that was my excuse. So that was like my kind of tactic for keep knocking at the same door, essentially, without looking like
you're a bit
desperate, basically.
You know, I know there's one guy I'm really desperate in front of, and I think he knows that, but he's not said no to me, Jamal. He's just like, yes, I'll come back to you. But yeah, no, I think I really just want to do this full time. And, you know, I think, you know, I just want to maximize this maternity leave, because I just, I get such a buzz off of it. I love it. I enjoy it so much. Like, I will become skipping out of here today from talking to you. There's just something about it. And I know it's not for everybody. Some of my friends are like, I don't understand why you want to do this. But you know what I mean? It's just, it's a spark. It's just something special. It's really fun meeting new people all the time. I've always loved meeting people. I've lived lots of different places. I'm obviously not living where my family are. And it's because I'm just like, I've got that wanderlust. And I want to meet lots of different walks of life and understand different cultures and backgrounds. And it's a wonder to me why this path hasn't come to me, or someone hasn't told me at some careers thing that this would be an option.
It's right. I think we're changing, like we were saying off mic as well, like, people won't believe this. Get ready to fall off the edge of your seat. I never used to be like this in like school and stuff, and like prior to that, I never would even imagine doing this like back then, or like being on telly or whatever. I'd never ever imagined it when I was younger. I was always a camera op. I was always I used to walk around shopping centres, my mum like doing that, returning to films. I was very much behind the camera. But then when I got older, I felt, I'm dead chatty. I chat to everyone, I might as well get paid for it. So here we are. So I think it is something where you don't always know from early, like what you want to do, or, you know, which is again when we were saying about picking schools for like for your children and stuff, like you don't know kind of at that age the best route necessarily, because you don't know that they might not want to get into medicine, they might not want to be a lawyer, they might just want to do some creative stuff. And you know what I mean, a lot of the time that's more about getting the practical side of it done as opposed to the theory. Theory is important, but I think like in this industry, any that we're in, I think it's more about getting the opportunities and practical. Like when I was in college, I barely turned up to college because I was going to the BBC and like messing about with cameras in there.
So cool.
You know, shout out to Errol Murray, who I need to hook up with soon, who was like, you know, head of the camera department, and he would literally call me and say, "Yeah, we've got a new camera in, do you fancy coming in and having like a play?" And I'd just literally go, like, I used to live around the corner from Oxford Road pretty much, so I'd go into BBC, you know, new broadcasting house, and I'd just play with cameras and that kind of thing. And there's a picture, I'll try and find it and I'll put it. It was a picture of me with a camera when I was like 17, BBC lanyard on, looking a lot slimmer in the face and all the rest of it. Had this big camera that we were messing about with. So I think like, you know, that served me more purpose than, you know, the academic side of it, but it all depends. Another massive tangent, apologies.
No, but I think that's really important messaging, because, you know, if you have a kid who is getting told off for talking at school and you get the report in, so-and-so's talking a lot at school, not paying attention, well, why is it not honed in on that child actually might really benefit from a creative industry, not necessarily have to go on TV or radio, but they might be really good at PR, they might be really good at marketing or whatever. And these, I don't know actually if this is the case now, but certainly when I was at school, that was just never advocated. It was literally like, oh, you're good at science, go and do medicine. Oh, you're good at English or history, whatever. Maybe you should go and do that at uni and or law. And like, not everyone is like meant for these directions. Some people know right from the start that they are meant to do these things.
100%.
But 100%. I think most people don't really know, and how are you supposed to know until you have life experience?
Exactly. And until you meet people, like I always say, like, although I wanted to be a camera from when I was shown interest in cameras from when I was like 2 or 3, do you know what I mean? And again, there's another good picture I'll try and find and put it up of me when I was about, I think I must have been about 3, possibly, or 4, not be younger than probably 3, with a camera in a hand like that.
Oh.
And there's a picture of me and my parents. Someone's taking that picture, but I've got a camera kind of pointing back.
Yeah.
And it's like, from then I sort of knew, but it was also the influence of a friend of mine that I went to high school with, Ben. It was also his influence that kind of pushed me on to do that, because he was doing that when we were in high school. I'd go with him to film or help him film his dad used to race at Alton Park, and we used to go and film it, and it was so cool. I think that basically, that experience, like being friends with him and kind of helping him with that, made me want to do it even more.
Yeah.
And now we're both camera ops, and we actually bumped into each other the other day on the same job, and it's always nice when we do that. And I think the first job we actually bumped into each other on was a job at Man City, and we're both big City fans. So it was so apt that we'd bump into each other at City, filming a City play, and we're like, this is great. So we took a picture and we were like, we've been friends for years, and we're both doing the same job now. So I think it's definitely life experiences, who you meet can help kind of shape your career and things like that. And that was definitely a big example, I think, for me. I was like, you know, he really made me hone in on that kind of thing. And so I'll never forget those days at Alton Park. It was an all-day thing. We'd leave like dead early in the morning. So I'd start the night before, and we'd get up at like 6, 7. We'd get on the road. Like we would get a brew first, get on the road to Alton Park, and we'd be there till like 6, 7. Do you know what I mean? Just filming, racing all day. It was brilliant. So yeah.
Well, that's it. And I think as well, for me, like, it's important to know that you're not necessarily always going to be from families who you're going to follow the same career path as your parents, or you might just not be from any of the backgrounds that you have an interest in. So that is why it's important to go and do unpaid work, go and do like, you know, my cousin was really good at this actually. She did every single career possible, like a week here, a week there. She came and shadowed me, I remember, in PR, to then she worked out what she wanted to do. And I thought that was really ahead of her game. Like, for someone so young to be like, I really have no idea. I don't think I want to go down the same route as my dad or my mum. So yeah, you have to, and like, don't worry if you don't know what your thing is yet, because I'm from a whole family, including my husband, of like pivot career at 30. My mum went back to college at 50, you know, like,
I love that.
and that's again, sorry to plug my own pod.
No,
But that
go
is
for
the
it.
whole
No,
point of the
please do.
Crossroad. It's like, it's never too late, because the amount of people, and this is why I started it, the amount of people I meet who think even being 30 is too late, it's not.
Exactly. And that is, you know what, it's a really nice place to end that, actually. So thank you for coming today. Just tell them where they can find your podcast, because you can plug it all you want, and I'm not even charging you to plug it. So you can plug it all you want.
Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me. A real privilege, honestly. I really, really appreciate it. You can find me at Rachel Aitken _presents on Instagram, and you can find the podcast on Instagram at The Crossroad Pod. It's also on all streaming platforms. Go and check it out if you're at Crossroad.
True. And I'll put the tags on and things like that, so people can just click below this. But yeah, thanks again. That's been another great episode of You Good Bro. We're almost at episode 100, you know. It's crazy.
We should have a little party.
We did. I think we're gonna exclusive party, exclusive guest list. I might invite you. Who knows?
See how the views go on there.
You've got to get a minimum of it now. But yeah, thanks again for coming. And next week be another brand new episode of You Good Bro. So, in the absence of JD, you have to do his sign off, which is peace. So when I stop talking, you have to go peace. I should have coached you off camera, but whatever.
Here we go.
So that's another episode of You Good Bro, and we'll see you again next week. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Tell your friends to tell a friend, and tell their mum and dad and all the rest of it. And we'll see you again next week for another episode of You Good Bro.
Peace.